Hi, my name's Dave and I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and this is my climate story. I do have a little cheat sheet here, but one thing I like to do is go out and monitor vernal pools, which are a type of seasonal wetland that fill up with spring rain and snow melt. And usually by summer's end, they're dry as a bone. But when they do have water in them, it's a cacophony of sound and a plethora of life. You have thousands, really millions of individual organisms swimming around, hopping around, all sorts of things going on in there. It's a critical component of a healthy ecosystem, including healthy water. So I was monitoring this pool, and it's very excited to go back, and I arrived at the site. I walked down the hill, went through brambles and pricker bushes and all sorts of stuff that kind of always cuts you up a little bit. But I had my observation tray, I had my dip net, I have my little table and my cameras, all excited to see how big things were this week. And when I got there, and this was at nighttime, so I had a flashlight and shining the flashlight, cutting through the darkness. And when I got down to the pool, I was horrified because it had actually dried up. It had dried up earlier than I'd ever seen it before. And so because it had dried up, all those organisms were dead. The smell was overwhelming. That's something I remember. Clouds of mosquitoes as well, because the healthy vernal pool has a lot of things that eat mosquitoes, like different types of salamander larvae, back swimmers, dragonfly larvae, all sorts of things like that. So, but all those were dead. And there were just piles of decaying animals, and obviously like with the vegetation that was in there too. So it was very depressing, and I admit I did cry because it's something that I kind of felt ownership over, and to see these creatures dead and laying there was just horrific. It was not part of the natural cycle. So that also motivates me a little bit to do my part to combat climate change, and so getting involved is something I love doing. I love doing the tree plantings, the litter cleanups, the invasive species removal, all sorts of things like that. And getting involved with local groups too that do that, because that kind of creates a support system for me, and it lets me know that other people care about these things like I do. And so I've since gone back to that pool, and it has had water in it, and creatures are coming back and things like that. So I'm very excited to see what it holds, but also to figure out how we can make that water stay in there a little bit longer so it doesn't dry up as quick. And so those animals have a fighting chance to live out their life cycle or part of their life cycle in there. So that's just a little bit about my climate story.